a big Power Rangers fan. So there's this thing going around that you guys might be doing the next Power Rangers for Disney Plus, or just Power Rangers in general. If you guys do, or if you guys are, would that be a continuation of that 30-year legacy, or something brand new?
You are asking me questions that you know I can't answer. Let's just say we very much hope to bring that story to life. So that's all I can say at this point.
I know that there's this big rumor that you guys might be taking over Power Rangers. Will it be focusing on Jason, Zach, Billy, Trini, and Kimberly?
Tell me.
Or a new set
the rumor is true. I cannot tell you, but I am very, very excited for where that's going.
The news talking about Power Rangers Reboot getting a Mighty Morphin update from Percy Jackson showrunner. I have never watched the Percy Jackson. Like, I know of it, but I've never watched it. Oh, excuse me. Oh, cannot talk today. So yeah, that's something that I really wanted to get into at first. Stuff like that. So here we go. It says December is starting to be a with the bang for Power Rangers fans. A whole new live-action Power Rangers show has been confirmed and developed at Disney Plus. This news comes at the perfect time. Number one Sentai Ghost year, which is slated to be the final Super Sentai show in the original Banner. Banner is expected to air as the finale in 2026. For those unaware, Power Rangers is the American adaptation along with the Japanese superhero series Super Sentai. The previous announced just as a Super Sentai legacy winds down, which means the fight for justice will continue for a new generation under Disney's wing for the first time in years. Yes, for those who don't know, in the 2000s, Disney owned the rights to Power Rangers when they got the Disney era Power Rangers. So you get Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, you get Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, RPM, and that 2010 just kind of weird version of Mighty Morphin with like the comic book sound effects and stuff like that. Now, I don't say it was weird, but it was like an attempt at like kind of like doing like an I guess it's like an HD and stuff like that. Like it's a remastered, or like the colors and stuff like that. They're doing basically what Power Rangers Reignition is doing today, with the kind of like, I guess, AI assisted versions of the AI assisted version of it, and like the clarity of the picture and stuff like that. So that in addition to that, they moved Disney at the time is the reason why Power Rangers filmed in New Zealand, because they felt it was cheaper and it was could also be culturally ambiguous too. But there's like an inside joke on like Power Rangers Dino Charge, which is pretty funny to me. But yeah, that's one of the main things that they're, for Power Rangers fans that don't know, that Disney used to own the rights to Power Rangers. So yeah, there's that. So alright, so let's continue. Before the confirmation, rumors have been circulating about the creators behind the Percy Jackson Action in the Olympian series working on a new Power Rangers show, and during the blue carpet event for the debut presentation of season 2, Dan Shotz and Johnathan Steinberg, the showrunners, rise to the truth in the rumors. Steinberg confirmed that the movie web that the rumor in fact is true and working on a new Power Rangers series. This is great news. They've proven they can handle fantasy series and bring back old franchises that are already loved by the masses. Percy Jackson is already one of the most, I don't know anyone Percy Jackson season 2 that on early reviews. Still no if the new Power Rangers show in development will continue to the original show, stuff at the 31st season, or will be a reboot. That is a good question. Will they just do something completely different? Or are they going to do something different? Or are they going to have something new? Because they have a lot of continuity to work with that they can work with. Yeah, they definitely do have a lot. They definitely do have quite a lot that they can work with, continuity wise, that things they can pull from. Even the comics they can pull from. For instance, I would love to see them do it at again, I don't know if this is ever going to happen when it comes to the Power Rangers, but I would love to see if they were to do like Mighty Morphin, possibly. There's a to me, I feel like there's like a high likelihood of Mighty Morphin happening. I feel like if at all possible, they could possibly do like, say, like an adaptation like the Shattered Grid, or do something like the Omega Rangers, That's these guys. That's these guys right here. I would love to see them do like an adaptation like the Omega Rangers, or if at all possible, they could also do a rendition of Power Rangers Prime, because I'm having a good time reading it, even though Power Rangers Prime is going to be technically canceled by the 16th issue. Because that would give them the perfect chance to start doing something. If they wanted to, they could, and go ahead and just have like the VR Troopers make a triumphant return too, because they would love to. Because I feel like a lot of people would love to see. They would love to see the VR Troopers make a comeback. In addition to that, hold on. They could also use these guys, the Sun Vulcan, because Marvel also helped them produce this and stuff like that, which is dope. They could also do stuff like that. There's a ton of things that they definitely could do. Ooh, there's many routes to take when it comes to creating a brand new Power Rangers show, unless they're gonna do something completely different, yet pay homage to the original. That could be interesting, because you know, I feel like with 2017 Power Rangers, it was trying to do its own thing, in addition to trying to do so it was trying to do its own thing, in addition to kind of giving love to what came before it. And and yes, this is the reason why. And I just saw the part that next part of the article I want to take a look at, but I'm just kind of rambling right now. Really just trying to get my brain going when I'm talking about Power Rangers. So there definitely is something like that. There definitely is something like that that I think about a lot. What route these guys could take, because they truly do have a ton of stuff to work with. And maybe unless they're, because I feel like with the 2017 Power Rangers, they wanted to create their own continuity, just like how the original movie is its own continuity, as if Rocky, Adam, and Aisha were already there from the jump, not Jason, Zach, and Trini. So there is that thought that comes into play when I think about it, when I start to think about that, because again, there's so many routes this guy could take, and I don't know where, or something I've always wanted to see, and this is just me. Shattered grit, because if it's a series, then they could really flesh that out and make that adaptation with. I don't know. They could be doing something like that. They could totally be doing something like that. They totally could. Ooh, but when I think about it, I mean, because I remember some time ago, I talked about what Johnathan Entwistle had in mind when he was set to be like the showrunner for a Power Rangers Reboot on Netflix. Which, by the way, I do apologize for never doing that big Power Rangers video I promised. Because the reason why I didn't do that, because there was always new information that was coming about, up to the point where it's like, I talked about it a little bit in my video where I said, the reboot's not happening at Netflix. And there's definitely like things that the reboot wasn't happening at Netflix. Johnathan Entwistle eventually didn't become attached to it. It was in limbo for a little bit until Disney decided to snatch it back up. So there's just a whole lot that went into it. I could still maybe do the video about Cosmic Fury. I would love to do that. But I probably wouldn't add the information that I fully intended to do, because at the time, Entwistle was already on laying the groundwork for the Karate Kid Legends. There's that. There's also basically eventually if the whole thing with Netflix going on. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the article. So I'm rambling on. All right. The new Power Rangers show is the result of the Netflix happily fall apart in 2024. Yes. The original Power Rangers ran for 30 seasons, but the universe is shaky over the past few years. It previously connected universe development Johnathan Entwistle. See, in part of what happens on Netflix. He planned the promised crossover between television series and feature films with great anticipation would come from a large-scale project. Netflix became the overpowered Johnny Fury and Cosmic Fury, seasons 28 to 30, as well as the 30th anniversary special, Power Rangers Once and Always. However, the grand plans for a shared universe never fully materialized. In 2024, Power Rangers Hasbro ended disagreement with Netflix for reasons that remain unknown until it began seeking a new studio partner. Since then, Netflix has slowly removed most of the Power Rangers content from its platform. The collapse of the deal marked the end of one chapter, but also Disney took over the franchise once again. On Netflix, Power Rangers is something of a niche property cherished by a longtime fan, but not reaching a wider audience. Under Disney, things could change. Disney's vast resources, strong marketing machine, and proven track record in franchise and household names, Power Rangers now has the potential to reach a whole new generation of viewers. I like that optimism. Very good very optimistic stuff like that. I like that. And that is something that Power Rangers does. And that's something a lot of people feel like Power Rangers definitely does need. Is they need that kind of, that possible fresh coat of paint that doesn't completely abandon what Power Rangers was and what Power Rangers is to a lot of people, but giving that bigger, broader appeal that could potentially allow it to kind of shed its roots. Is that, and I've said this many times before, the campy show from the 90s, blah 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 blah. I've mentioned this lots of times, and as have many other people, to say that Power Rangers has this issue of like being like 90s coded. And wow, I love Mighty Morphin. There's a lot of love for Mighty Morphin. That's gonna be people's frame of reference when you talk about Power Rangers. There's things like that. There is something. Yeah, there's definitely something to say about things like that. But also, like, if there were that, but also, I also mentioned this before in another video I did a long time ago. It's like, oh, they could experiment with tone, and sure, but they've done that in Power Rangers Space, Power Rangers RPM, Power Rangers Wild Force, and so on and so forth. But it's like, oh yeah, make it appeal to a broader audience. Sure, I can get behind that, But at the same time, I also feel like with it could also do more stuff. Like, a lot of people were clamoring for a Power Rangers animated series. I also remember reading about how the showrunner for My Adventures with Superman wanted to pitch a Power Rangers animated series. And there was him, not necessarily even just him, but a lot of showrunners were trying to do that. And it got shot down each time. So that really stinks to know, because I would love to see Power Rangers take an animated series. And then, not Power Rangers, but Disney has done an animated series of different shows, like the animated series of different, like, well-known properties, like Guardians of the Galaxy and like the Avengers. They had those two shows. They had the Spider-Man show also, so they could do some cool stuff with that too. And the reason I say that, and I've also said this before too, because it would give opportunities to have some of the some of the Rangers from the past be able to voice characters in the show, but be able to tell a story but have them have that kind of fan service to the fans, but not have it be overshadowed, but not have the fan service overshadow like what they're trying to do. And this is why I think this comes into play, where if a story like Shattered Grid could come into play, or if they did an adaptation, of Power Rangers Prime, or they did an adaptation, or they could take it a step further and even do Ranger Academy. just the thought. I mean, this is prime for something like that. This is absolutely prime for something like that. If they want to try that direction, you know, would it be too far-fetched to say, hold on. Would it be too far-fetched to say that I wish that there was an adaptation of this? If an adaptation of this, it would be glorious. But that would be a ton of like rights, paperwork, and all the other stuff from like Paramount and Disney, and you know, they're both trying to like take over the world. So it's like, yeah, you know, that would be amazing. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it wouldn't be. If that were ever came to light, that would be just the best. But that's probably never going to happen anytime soon. But again, I could see Ranger Academy getting that Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, or like Ultimate Spider-Man, or friggin' the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon treatment, either for the Ranger Academy, Power Rangers Prime, or even like, again, and I keep saying this and I will continue to say it because I would love to see it adapted, a Shattered Grid storyline. Some cartoons can get away. Some cartoons were able to get away with like something like dark and scary and happening in like a I suppose if you want to say like a tasteful way, I suppose if you want to call it that. But I think I don't know, I just think it's a lot you can do, and I hope to see a lot of stuff of change for Power Rangers in a positive way. Because again, this is really optimistic. This article is really optimistic. Even it's not saying, "Oh yeah, it's damn, it deserves to die." It's saying, yeah, Power Rangers is trying to make a comeback. Super Sentai's ending, and while there's still gonna be love for OG Power Rangers and the love for Super Sentai for years to come, you know, we gotta see, like, with the right people at the helm, we can see where Power Rangers get taken next, be it into the future. Cause you know, I would love to see, cause this is something I love Power Rangers, and I would love to see it get its just due. I would love to see it get its flowers. It's already gotten there with Fortnite. It's gotten that, and like, you know, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to keep just seeing like Mighty Morphin toys always being like put out all the time. You know, that ain't exactly a hot take. It's always gonna be there. That's always gonna be what I mean. And I'm not gonna sit there and pretend like I'm above it, because like I got my reignition morpher over there, and that's like my STEM toy. It's my STEM toy. And then we got all my other figurines over here. Whatever you can see in the, well, actually I don't have any Power Rangers figures in the back there, but I got some next to me. I got all other stuff, and it ain't like, even with the reboot, it ain't like Power Rangers get like whisked away or like erased from like history. It's just another attempt at it. That's what the 2017 movie was. Heck, there was supposed to be like 5 movies of that. And I was hoping with the sequel they would adapt the Green Ranger story, the most famous story from Power Rangers. But again, I feel like what's gonna continue, you know, I feel like even though I said there's like a high likelihood and likely be like a Mighty Morphin kind of situation, you know. But yeah, that's just what I feel like. That's how I feel about that particular situation in Power Rangers at the moment. So yeah.